Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Jurnee Taylor here with meteorologist Nathan Scott. Mr. Scott, it has been a gloomy one. When is the sun coming back out? Please
Come on, Jurnee. Yes, it is a little gloomy, but it's much cooler than what we have been seeing over the past several days because the clouds in place. It feels a little bit like October out there. Look at the temperatures right now. Only into the upper 60s to lower 70s. A few breaks in the cloud cover happening into southwest Arkansas. So there could be a few breaks in the cloud cover if you're watching us south of the metro. But compared to 24 hours ago, the temperatures are 10 to 15 degrees lower. So yeah, it's certainly different than what we saw this time yesterday when we reached 90 degrees during the peak heating of the day. Out there also, we've had some scattered showers. That's been some good news, although a lot of places have only seen right around a tenth to maybe as much as a quarter inch for those lucky folks. Highs today with the clouds around and the chance of spotty showers continuing, although the coverage will become more isolated through the afternoon hours. We're only topping out into the mid to upper 70s most locations, probably low 80s down into South Arkansas. This fall-like air will stick around for the next few days. Along with that, a chance, and it's a low chance, of still a little bit of rain. More on that forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Nathan. Well, lawmakers are back at the state capitol discussing several pieces of legislation, including one that has become a major debate even between lawmakers. Right now, the Senate's State Agencies Committee is discussing a proposed bill to change Arkansas's Freedom of Information Act. The push from Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has faced some opposition from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. That led Senate President Bart Hester to propose a new bill, which is currently being discussed in this meeting. Now, we're following it closely, and we'll have more tonight at 5 and 6. As for the other special session bills going through the legislature right now, Senate bills aimed at cutting the state's income tax, getting rid of state COVID vaccine mandates, sentencing for a felony with a firearm, and clarifying the state law about locked school doors have all been approved and now head to state representatives. The U.S. Congress is back on Capitol Hill today. Republicans say they plan to move ahead with a possible impeachment of President Biden. This comes as Congress is already battling a tight deadline to keep the government running. Skylar Henry has more from Washington.
CBS News has confirmed that House Speaker Kevin McCarthy plans to announce this week that he now backs an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Republicans say IRS whistleblowers proved the Department of Justice gave preferential treatment to the president's son Hunter during its investigation. The move comes as some of the more strident House Republicans, such as Florida's Matt Gaetz, threatened to file a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair if McCarthy didn't agree to the impeachment inquiry.
While Republicans appear ready to begin the process, lawmakers have a much more pressing issue to deal with. Congress has until the end of the month to pass a spending bill or the government will shut down.
There has been bipartisan support to pass the spending bill in the Senate.
For months, our colleagues have worked diligently to build consensus and process as many bills as possible, with deadlines looming large.
But some House Republicans say they won't support a deal that continues to fund Ukraine's fight against Russia.
I once again implore House Republican leadership to reject all-or-nothing tactics, reject unrealistic expectations, and refuse to cave to the extremist demands we're hearing from 30 or so members way out on the fringe.
A new CBS News poll shows support among Republicans to aid Ukraine is split evenly. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Republicans, 61% of those surveyed, say the U.S. should not send weapons to Ukraine, something Republican leaders in the Senate insist is a vital thing to do for American national security. In other news, authorities in Pennsylvania say the manhunt for escaped prisoner Daniello Cavalcante has grown even more dangerous. He allegedly is now armed with a rifle. The convicted killer was spotted earlier this morning after an encounter with a homeowner who shot at him. Tactical teams, including canines and mounted patrols from multiple agencies, are now combing through the area to find him. Google goes on trial today in a lawsuit that could change the way big tech companies do business. The Justice Department and more than a dozen states accuse the company of illegally limiting online search options. Google strongly denies that. Jolene Kent has the latest on the lawsuit.
Google Google's my best friend. I love Google.
Google's your best friend.
Yes,
Why?
I mean, because literally we're walking right now trying to find a pizza place, and I'm Googling it.
When you search for something online, a lot of people call it the same thing.
I Google weekly.
I'm Googling everything.
How often are you Googling stuff on your phone?
Like 30 times, like every day.
But now that popularity and how it came to be has landed Google, the company, in federal court. The Justice Department and more than a dozen states are taking on the tech giant in a landmark antitrust trial beginning today. The government claims Google illegally pays billions of dollars to Apple, Samsung, LG, and beyond to make Google the default search engine on your phone and computers, shutting out rivals like Microsoft Bing and DuckDuckGo. This, the government says, allows Google to dominate nearly 90% of all searches in the U.S. and 95% of searches on mobile devices.
Would you ever change?
To where?
The government also says Google uses that dominance to charge advertisers higher prices and favors advertising on its own platform and steers advertiser spending towards itself. Google denies any wrongdoing. Is Google breaking the law here?
No, we're not. We believe that people use Google because it's helpful. The case comes down to two important principles: competition and choice. Competition, you've never seen more choice, whether that's TikTok or Reddit or Amazon or Expedia.
Google's chief legal officer, Kent Walker, also says if a user doesn't want to use Google as the default, they can change it.
It really couldn't be easier. You can sit at home on your couch and change what search engine you're using. It's as easy as changing your shoes.
It's as easy as changing your shoes.
Well, we see lots of people doing it.
Is it easy? Definitely not. It's definitely not easy. I feel like, here, you would probably have to go. See, I don't even know where it is.
And for small companies trying to compete for your business online, critics of Google say it's nearly impossible.
Google's dominance means that a lot of innovators that might come along in the tech space, really can't get a toehold. And if we, take action against these tech monopolies, really insist that they, that they cannot be these dominant gatekeepers, we open up the market, and we're going to see all kinds of innovations and new developments, online.
Now, this trial could really change how small businesses are able to compete with the giant Google, and the trial is expected to last 10 weeks. Now, if Google loses, it could end up facing fines, damages, a potential restructuring. And if any of this sounds familiar to you, you'll remember that Microsoft antitrust case from 1998. Well, it turns out that is the exact same year a little startup called Google was officially founded in Silicon Valley. Jolene Kent, CBS News, Washington.
The desperate search for survivors of Morocco's devastating earthquake continues today. The death toll has now risen to more than 2,800 people since Friday. Many of the affected places are remote and very difficult to reach, and crews are only now able to get to those areas. And the crucial golden period, the best window for finding survivors who might still be struggling to survive beneath the rubble, is now closed. A CDC advisory panel meets today to look at whether to recommend updated COVID-19 vaccines as cases and hospitalizations tick up. The FDA approved the updated vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna yesterday. The push is to shift and make COVID vaccination more like an annual shot. Vaccinations could begin later this week, and experts are getting the message out that COVID and flu shots can be given at the same time. Now, that push comes with questions and claims, including one about the process of getting both the flu and COVID vaccine. Someone asked the Verify team if the two will be combined into one shot. Annie Yu looks into the claim for us this afternoon.
We verified by checking with these sources. In June, an FDA panel recommended drug makers create an updated COVID-19 vaccine, one that only targeted the Omicron XBB subvariant. Moderna and Pfizer both submitted applications, and neither mentioned including protection against the flu. Also in June, the CDC announced the formula for this season's flu shot, which advisors recommended. It contains 4 strains of flu virus that officials think are most likely to show up this fall. The CDC's website says you can get both shots at the same time in the same arm, or one in each, if that's convenient, but you don't have to. So we can verify, no, the COVID-19 and flu shots won't be combined into one. But Pfizer, Moderna, and Novavax are testing vaccines that could protect against both, which could be ready as soon as next year.
The Little Rock School District is stepping up support for Hispanic students and their families. how the effort is bridging a communication gap at 12:12. Nathan?
And we got a solid deck of cloud cover across a large part of central Arkansas. That's going to keep the temperatures well below average for this time of year. I'll let you know how long this taste of fall will be sticking around and have another look at radar coming up.